right. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm always getting sick when I start sneezing a lot.
Well, it's hard with me because like when I started working the second job, like there was so much dust everywhere that it was hard to tell if it was a sick sneeze or if it's just a shit sneeze. Like
Yeah. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the sinus infection stream.
yes, this is the Pow-wow stream number 14, dipping the toe in the Joe.
And that sounds way dirtier than it actually is, so don't try and start kink shaming us. This ain't that kind of stream.
Hashtag no context.
No, I mean, how much do you really want to get into the whole Trump, Russia, Ukraine business?
I I'm just trying to figure out. Well, like the main thing I'm trying to figure out is why people care about it now. I think it's just another. It's just another witch hunt. Without, not that I hate, not that I love to use the term witch hunt, but I mean, like goal number one is to try and get Trump um, impeached.
Well, they know they can't beat him in the election.
Yeah,
There's nobody that is still running that is going to be able to go toe to toe with him in an electoral college contest. They may win the popular vote like Hillary did. You know, all they got to do is rely on the coasts. I think what they say, Hillary won by 3 million plus votes.
yeah, something like that.
Now, if you take out like Los Angeles County and New York County, pretty sure she lost. So, they may win the popular vote again because of that, but they're not gonna be able to pull off enough states in the electoral college to win the presidency. And they're just gonna turn around and bitch again about how the electoral college needs to go because we're not winning. But if they do actually manage to pull off that Hail Mary, they'll fucking drop the electoral college in a heartbeat until they lose again.
Yeah, I can see that.
This all started with a whistleblower, if I'm not mistaken, who didn't even hear the conversation. They heard about the conversation, and they went to the press. They didn't file any kind of whistleblower deal. They didn't go to Congress or any other officials. They went to a newspaper, and that's why this guy, play that it's getting.
So, like Jack said earlier, this whole thing started because of a teenage girl.
I don't follow.
Well, any teenage girl could be a whistleblower, in this case.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Some dude who works in the White House. He may have mentioned something about conversation to the over dinner, and then his kid just decided to tweet the New York Times or something. Who knows? That could be the whistleblower.
Yeah.
But what I think is really interesting is everyone's bitching about Trump and his abuse of power, but there is video of Joe Biden from a fucking year ago talking about how when he was the vice president, he abused his power, and nobody on the left is saying shit about it. So, priorities, people.
Oh, I suppose we can switch to communications. So my friend replied to my post on Facebook about how I find it funny how now people are giving a shit about the Ukraine now that Trump's involved with something. Seemed like no one gave a damn when Russia was taking over part of the country, and a few people like that.
Debate coach.
No, actually, this is someone who she's kind of sided with him on a lot of stuff. Um, she's not as far to the left that I know of. I mean, we've never really gotten into politics.
So she decided to put on her big girl pants and take you on all by herself this time?
No, actually, she agrees with me.
Oh,
Like, so yeah, like
what a refreshing change of
no, because actually her son is part Ukrainian, and when she was married,
So are you telling me that you're friends with a Eastern European mole?
I'm friends with the mother of an Eastern European mole. Alleged.
Do you know if this kid has seen South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut?
No, he is not.
Oh, I was gonna say like I'd really keep an eye on that kid if he just starts busting out like in Viva la Revolution. That kid may not be wanting to invade Canada.
But yeah,
Refuse to come and watch, Shio. You're still in chat, so that counts.
well, hey, Shio.
How's it going?
Are you working there, Shio?
Yeah, we don't care if you watch, dude. Just listen. But yeah, that Razor Fist video last night that he posted, it's got video of Biden sitting there talking on camera about how he threatened to withhold $1 billion aid package if that prosecutor didn't get fired.
See, it's fine if you refuse to come watch, but please just don't tell us if you watch and come. That's not a good one.
And Boogie says my audio is way low. 1 second before we try and switch up settings. Give me 1 moment here.
Well, I turned up my audio just because that seems to help typically.
How about now, Foogie? How's my audio now? I adjusted my microphone. I'm feeling a bit shit, so I didn't want to possibly be coughing or sneezing right into the mic. Sucking at these cigarettes probably didn't help in the cause, but fuck it. So yeah, that's the long and short of the whole Trump Ukraine. They posted the it's not a transcript. I keep seeing that on Twitter. People bitching that it's not a transcript. It is a telephone. What do they call it? It's a telcon. What was that shit called again?
That TTD or whatever. Where it's
no, like the actual. It's a abbreviation that the government uses for whatever this is. A memorandum of a telephone conversation, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, that's a bit better, Boogie said. So if it still seems too low, I guess we'll have to adjust accordingly. But yeah, it's a memorandum of a telephone conversation. It's not a transcript, people. Don't call it a transcript.
So it's
Somebody will get butthurt.
So it's just a memcon.
It's a memorandum of a telcon. Get your government lingo correct, sir.
So it's a transcript. Like
pretty much. Yeah. Fucking splitting hairs on the internet. Isn't that what it was made for? That and porn? Just somebody bitching about semantics and jerking off.
The internet is really, really great for getting into fights about porn.
No, actually, I mean, have you seen the comment section on Pornhub? Those are some of the friendliest people I've ever fucking seen.
That is, there are a few odd ones, but yeah.
I mean, they're giving you cooking recipes. They're helping you with your math homework. they're talking to you about Minecraft and how to find this or that. There's some good people sitting there just spanking it. And meanwhile, we're over here on YouTube bitching with each other. I think we should start streaming on Pornhub, Johnny.
That could work, actually.
They need to get a streaming service together. So I won't feel so bad when I say fuck in every other sentence.
Yeah.
But I have a couple other things if you don't want to talk about Trump too much, because I know I'm tired of it. I mean, I had to wake up to it this morning in my fucking DMs of all places. I don't know if he'll see this, but our favorite centrist had to try and throw his weight around last night and this morning. But that's neither here nor there. Do you want to start with the Post, or do you want to start with Politico?
Let's
pull from each.
Let's start with Politico.
All right. As I was scrolling through the Twitters this morning, I came across a post from Petite Coco, our favorite half Asian bot, and she does this thing like a few other people do, where they'll just post like the headline, and they'll leave out where it came from, so you gotta like dig for it. Thankfully, today was not one of those days. This is a part of a series from Politico, and let me go back here and figure out the actual title of what this is a part of. How to Fix Politics. Okay? How to Fix Politics from Politico. A whole bunch of different sections on this deal. A bunch of different writers involved. In the inequality section, there are 15 fucking things about inequality that need to be fixed for our politics.
And you only said there was 6.
Yeah, there were 6 when I loaded the page up. I had to scroll down.
Nice.
Because the one I was looking for was number 1.
They're the extra fries in the bag. So there we go.
Nope. I think the dog's dreaming about catching something. Anyway, this is in the inequality section of Politico's How to Fix Politics. Pass an anti-racist constitutional amendment by Ibram X. Kendi. Now, if you're asking who the fuck is that, well, let me tell you. Ibram X. Kendi is a professor of history, director of the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center at American University, and author of. Can you guess what he's the author of, folks? I'll give you a second.
How did Shiograth hear that? Because I just cleared my throat, and he.
I don't think he heard you clear your throat. That's probably my dog.
No, because I hacked up a pretty big lug there, so.
Well, apparently Shio's got some super hearing.
Or you can get out of my wall.
But if you're wondering, he's the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist. I'm guessing the first step is don't be white. But that's neither here nor there. So, let's hear what Professor Kendi's take is. To fix the original sin of racism, Americans should pass an anti-racist amendment to the U.S. Constitution that enshrines 2 guiding anti-racist principles. Racial inequity is evidence of racist policy, and the different racial groups are equal. Those are the 2 principles. The amendment would make unconstitutional racial inequity over a certain threshold, as well as racist ideas by public officials with, quote, racist ideas and, quote, public official clearly defined. It would establish and permanently fund the Department of Anti-Racism, the DOA. Can anybody think of what DOA stands for besides that? There's something, it's in the back of my brain.
Department of Agriculture?
And I'm trying to remember, what does DOA stand for? A little help here, Johnny. I'm blanking. I'm blanking.
I believe it's called the Dead on Arrival.
Thank you. Would establish and permanently fund the Department of Anti-Racism, comprised of formally trained experts on racism and no political appointees. The DOA would be responsible for pre-clearing all local, state, and federal public policies to ensure they won't yield racial inequity, monitor those policies, investigate private racist policies when racial inequity surfaces, and monitor public officials for expressions of racist ideas. The DOA would be empowered with disciplinary tools to wield over and against policymakers and public officials who do not voluntarily change their racist policy and ideas. Somebody took the time to write that down, and somebody else took the time to read that and say, yeah, fuck it, let's go ahead and post that.
Yeah, that's no. So, people, that's why you have editors. Jesus Christ, people.
Well, first of all local, state, and federal public policies. Do you know how fucking big this agency would have to be to monitor every locality, every state, and every federal policy that was, up for implementation? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that.
This is a professor of history. And notice he's also the director of anti-racist research and policy. And he wants formally trained experts on racism to be comprised of the Department of Anti-Racism.
So bring in the Klan.
I think this dude wants a new job. I think he wants a government paycheck. That's what I'm getting out of it. But yeah, so I saw that, and do we want to go through any of the rest of this shit? Because I'm pretty sure there's got to be some other good ones here. Oh, here's number 2. Nominate only women to open congressional seats. Number 3, a tax to boost immigrant communities. Number 4, end the drug war now. I mean, I can actually agree with that one. Number 5, courage and vision. Okay, I want to read this one just because it's written by Cornel West. That's the best you can come up with the title. Courage and vision. Holy shit, it's one sentence.
Really?
Them explaining who the fuck Cornel West is actually longer than what he actually wrote. Cornel West is a professor of the practice of public policy at Harvard University and professor emeritus at Princeton University. Here's what he actually wrote. Courage and vision in the fight for poor and working people. Thank you, Professor West. How else would we get along without that insight? Gender quotas is number 6. Eliminate race-based policy making. Ooh, does that mean we can get rid of affirmative action? Does that mean that the
No.
Census Bureau will stop asking where all the Indians are every 10 years?
It would have to be not non-affirmative action. It would just have to be hire less white people.
Oh, the Yang Gang made it in at number 8. Somebody named Michael Tubbs. A guaranteed income. Number 9, create a maximum wage.
Maximum wage. Well, I could.
Yeah, we have a minimum wage. Why
Yeah.
not a maximum wage? Because money don't work like that. Number 10, publish distributional, not just aggregate, growth data. Number 11, invest in decriminalization. I'm pretty sure that's just, part of the whole end the drug war. It's got to be. Number 12, don't let civil rights protections slip. Tim Ryan. Why does that name sound familiar?
Tim Ryan?
Oh, this is the motherfucker that's running for president. That He's a congressman from Ohio.
Wasn't that? Oh no, it was Tim Kaine. I was thinking it was.
Hillary's running mate.
Yeah.
The Truth About Reconciliation Commission. A Reconciliation Commission. Okay. Move some federal agencies out of Washington. How about just get rid of them?
Can you hear?
Make state legislatures full-time jobs.
Can you hear this, Shio Garath?
Why? So these people can write more laws. But yeah, that's. I thought that first one was so ridiculous I had to read it, but the rest of these just sound dumb. Except for the decriminalization and the drug war. I can get behind that. And while I was scrolling through Politico to find this one, I also found some YouTube-related content. This was posted at 11:45 this morning. YouTube CEO. Politicians can break our content rules. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. I think that's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Never mind.
Wojcicki
said today that content by politicians would stay up on a video sharing website against the company standards, echoing a position staked out by Facebook this week. Well, this explains why Joey Salads is running for Congress. I think we finally figured that one out, folks. When you have a political officer that is making information, how can you say the same thing 3 different ways? This was at the Atlantic Festival this morning. Wojcicki said the news media is likely to cover controversial content regardless of whether it's taken down, giving context to understand it. YouTube is owned by Google. Why is that sentence even in there? Social media firms have seen their policies for reviewing and removing content come under fire in recent years, particularly when such content endorses hate-filled views or incites real-world violence. The issue is even more prickly when it involves world leaders like President Donald Trump, who has used bullying or violent language in social media posts.
So apparently Shio can hear me evacuating my lungs. Because I just muted out. I muted out everything, and yeah, apparently he can still hear it.
Can anybody else hear it, or is it just Shio? Because if it's just Shio, yeah,
Apparently Fugi can. Apparently Fugi can too, because yeah, I have everything muted. Are you hearing it? Because
I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little off my own world reading this shit, so I wasn't paying attention.
Ah.
I mean, as long as you're not like gasping for air or some shit where I need to call cops, yeah, I kind of tuned it out. But Wojcicki's remarks came a day after Facebook's global affairs chief, Nick Clegg, told the same conference in Washington that political leaders would be allowed to break the social network's content rules. Earlier this year, Twitter announced it would label and demote, but not remove, content from politicians that violates its standards. YouTube also allows certain content to violate its rules if it's educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic in nature, the CEO said. Yeah, like anal bleaching and nude yoga, but if you're doing a documentary about illegal migrants in, say, Europe, they're gonna turn that shit off, at least for a little while. So that's the YouTube news coming out of Politico today. So I mean, if you really want to break the terms of service, folks, get elected. Oh, hey, Tim, how's it going?
Oh, is she? Yeah, she's in there. I sent her the link.
But before we hop over to the post, I saw this from Jim Healis posted this on Twitter. Good old Jim. Fremont police Tesla runs out of battery during pursuit.
Nice.
Hey, how much does a Tesla run again? I mean, like, how much does it cost? Like those ain't cheap, are they?
No.
So why the fuck does it? Well, why is there a cop car Tesla? Fremont, I guess this is like a suburb of San Francisco. A Tesla electric police patrol car by the Fremont police ran low on electricity in the middle of a pursuit after the department said someone forgot to plug the vehicle into a charger.
See, it ranges from 69,500 to 140,000.
So it's a house on wheels, is what you're saying. It's a mortgage payment
Yeah.
with a battery. According to officials, the officer was pursuing a vehicle headed down the South Bay when the car began to run low on battery power. Just slowed down to 6 miles of battery on the Tesla, so I may lose it here in a sec, the officer said, according to police radio transmissions. If someone else is able, can they maneuver into the number one spot? Other units took over the pursuit. Police said the chase was called off when it became unsafe, and the suspect vehicle was later found abandoned in San Jose. The Tesla wasn't fully charged at the beginning of the shift, a Fremont police spokesperson said. This unfortunately happens from time to time, even in our vehicles that run on gas, if they aren't refueled at the end of a shift. The Tesla, a used 2014 Model S manufactured at the plant in Fremont, began patrolling the streets earlier this year as part of a pilot program to help reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions. Now, I got questions. How often does a cop car run out of gas?
Let's see. If they run them like they do here, not very often.
Because I can't think of a single time anywhere in my area, or even my state. I mean, let's go ahead and the whole fucking state of Oklahoma. I can't think of anybody saying, any news stories like, oh yeah, there was a car chase, police pursuit. They ran out of gas, so they didn't catch the guy. But I just think that's hilarious. A 2014 Model S. I wonder what that blue book's for. Because that's hilarious. Oh, and she was posting jokes. If you really want to break the TOS, read my jokes. Yeah. Demi Moore has revealed in her biography that she was pimped out by her mother. Apparently most of the guys were assholes, but there were a few good men. But
There was one over there. My son got sent home from school after he was caught winking to a picture of Greta Thunberg, which is real pity as he had English to teach that afternoon. That's that one's a bit more spicy.
They probably just sent him home for having poor taste. So, do we want the Joker story, or do we want the Russian story first?
Let's save.
1 second.
All right.
I'll be right back.
All right, I'll go with
my doorbell is ringing.
I'll go with my story then. This one actually I submitted to MSS News. Let's see. A Colorado woman put an injured bobcat in the backseat of her car and blocked. Next to her child. Officials urge not to pick up wild animals. And I don't know how many people need to be told this. They are wild animals. Let's see. Saw that Gretel been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. That doesn't shock me anymore. I mean, they gave Obama one for being a black president. So, I mean, they just hand those things out to anyone anymore. Oh, yeah, there you are. Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah, I was so excited. I like made my whole family stop what they were doing so that they could shut up, so that I could get on stream with you because I haven't been able to in like a year.
Yeah,
So I was like, hell,
it's been about a year and 3 months, give or take.
something like that. But man, I missed you. I was like, I'm gonna get on you. So you were my first StreamYard stream,
Nice.
so I'm gonna fuck everything up, and I apologize.
And I come back and I've been replaced. Okay, cool.
Hi, Camel. How you doing?
Alright, how's it going?
It's going.
No, I was just we were just talking earlier about how about I was talking with you last time. I think it was before I got my second job,
Yeah.
and yeah, pretty much an 80-hour work week destroyed my streaming time.
I bet.
Yeah.
I can't imagine working 2 full-time jobs. I can't. I did 3 part-time jobs, and that about killed me. So I can't imagine working 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, they put me on part time for the next one, so but they'll pretty much let me choose my own schedule. So it's
Wow. Excuse me for.
all right. There you go, Shio. Can you hear her? Because maybe it's either you can hear everything or because I can't hear anything now that she's muted.
I think it just means that Shio's like hiding out in your attic, dude. The call is coming from inside the house, man. Get out.
He's hiding in my closet.
And Fugi says he just saw Greta has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, legit?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they gave Obama one just for getting elected, so... I mean...
Sorry, I have a 12-year-old, and I homeschool, so she chatters because she's 12.
Ah.
So I apologize for that. I'd already threatened them with death, and apparently they decided that wasn't scary enough. So
You should have threatened him with homework.
that's not a threat in our house.
I went to public school, so it worked on me.
Yeah, it doesn't work because we homeschool. So my kids go, oh, I get to go read a bunch? Okay, sure. I'll do that. It means I don't have to talk to anybody and I don't have to do chores. I'll go read. No, I don't think so. Go get chores done. I'm all excited because we're getting fiber optic this afternoon. So I'm like, you guys have to make the hallway right and all this stuff because we're getting fiber today.
So you guys are gonna be jumping up your speeds.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to stream properly again, too. So.
Wow, that one. Guess who just DM'd me again, Johnny?
Oh, he did he?
It only took him an hour to reply.
Yeah, to give you up to speed here. He's got a friend. He calls himself a aspiring centrist.
It's a very loose definition of the word friend, but yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Well, you called him your centrist friend for the longest time, so that's. I'm just going by what you said.
You didn't put the right inflection on it.
Okay.
You're missing all the sarcasm.
Friend.
Like we were actually buddies.
Oh, it's a when.
Yes, exactly. When.
Friend.
When. Haha. Okay, I get it now. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptick today, guys.
This is the one person that I've argued the most with on Twitter, just because I think it's funny, and apparently he thinks it's serious.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those wins. But he DM'd me out of the blue last night. I guess because of the whole Pelosi announcing the impeachment proceedings.
Oh, this is going to be the funniest, dumbest thing I've ever seen Democrats do.
But like his hot take was hey Camel, our president encouraged a foreign government to dig up dirt on an adversary. You like that? I was like, hey dude, Our last president ordered the killing of multiple American citizens without due process. You
On
like that?
foreign soil and took out foreign citizens at the same time. It could have been considered an act of war. But okay, whatever. You know, we can't we can't talk about the murderer in chief that we had. No.
But yeah, I didn't hear back from him again until like this morning, because apparently it was past his bedtime. You know, he went ahead and fired off that DM and just went to sleep.
Oh, I'm guilty of that. I'll send stuff and then I'll totally forget that I've sent stuff, and I'll walk away from my computer and I get distracted by the horde I have in the living room, and I won't be able to come back for like 3 hours.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you have a life. I'm not totally convinced this one does.
Ah, okay.
Like, if he had a family, they're all gone, and he's sad.
Oh, he's one of those too much free time people. Okay.
He's one of those people that if he has a family, they don't like him.
I know a lot of those.
Yeah. You know, he somehow, you know, keeps getting his invitation to the family reunions keep getting lost in the mail because they never get sent. You know. But yeah, we go back and forth. But the one that he seems to be the most passionate to argue about is immigration, or well, illegal immigration. Because I'm cool with immigration. You know, just follow the fucking law.
Yeah, you just need to come through the front door.
Yeah, sign the guest book on your way in.
I'm not into butt stuff.
So.
Sorry.
But yeah, he just finally messaged me back because, you know, like I was asking him, like, am I on trial here? You know, why am I supposed to be defending Trump? I didn't even vote for the guy.
I did.
I
I didn't vote for him because I'm like bigly MAGA. I voted for him because there was no way I was going to let the fucking Supreme Court go liberal.
Well, I mean, I might go ahead and vote for him this time around just, you know, to keep that going. Yeah, I mean, just because, like, oh, well, you know, fuck you, I'll vote for him now. You know.
You could call me a racist. Fuck it.
Well, in my election, at my polling booth, I took a quarter with me, and I'm like, well, I'll go 3 out of 5, and then every time it was like heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails. I'm like, okay, if I get 3 in a row of 1, then we'll go from there. And I sat there for maybe a good 45 minutes, just tossing 1 coin. And I'm just swearing because it's not coming up anything. And I actually was told that I had to finish up, and if I didn't finish up, that they were gonna call the cops.
So Johnny, moral of the story, folks, is Johnny's taking his magic 8 ball into the next election.
The moral of the story is Johnny needs to learn how to make a decision.
Moral of the story, we need better electives.
This is true. I don't know. I really didn't want to vote for Trump, but when I saw the list of people he dropped for his SCOTUS choices, I was like, okay, that's the only justification I can find for voting for either of these shit stains. Because I voted for Bernie out of protest.
That's the only justification for voting for president, period, is the Supreme Court.
I think, no, economics. Really, I usually do economics, but I didn't believe he was actually going to do any of the stuff he had written down. I thought he was just throwing it out there to see if it could get him what he wanted. So I wasn't buying what he was selling. I didn't see how he was going to get Reagan on steroids through Congress. I didn't. So...
Oh.
But I'm old, so I remember what it was like in the late 80s, early 90s, before Clinton fucked everything up.
You know, I'm just going to minimize that. I'm not going to deal with that dude right now. That fucking dog again. Probably barking at a leaf.
They do that. They're dogs. Or dags. Dags. I like saying dags.
Like dags.
You like
No, like
dags?
dags.
Yeah, I like Dags.
Dags.
I like Caravans more.
You
It's
know,
such a good movie.
let's see. I got these two more articles left. If you guys want to talk about those, or we can keep going with this. Whatever.
Actually, now that she's here, we can go with the one that we were going to talk about.
All right. Which one was that?
That's a good question. Which ones do you have left?
I've still got the Russian story and the Joker story.
Ah, the Joker story. That's the one.
Okay, that's the one.
Oh shit. My Batman lore is terrible, guys.
Well, this is not necessarily about lore or continuity or anything like that. From the New York Post,
this will fit right in. Just trust me.
the U.S. Army warns about possible mass shootings by incels at Joker screenings. Yeah. The U.S. Army issued a warning about the possibility of mass shootings at upcoming screenings of Joker, according to a new report.
Are you fucking serious? Because of the guy that pretended to, because of the Colorado shooter?
That probably has a bit of
But they get into it a little further.
element to that.
In a widely distributed email on September 18th, marked for official use only, officials reminded service members to identify 2 escape routes and to run, hide, fight in the event of a shooting, Gizmodo reported. Run if you can, the message said. If you're stuck, hide, also known as sheltering in place, and stay quiet. If a shooter finds you, fight with whatever you can. On Tuesday, the Army confirmed to Gizmodo that it issued a warning in light of social media posts from, quote, incel extremists that were flagged by the FBI. The email to service members explained that incels idolize the Joker character, the violent clown from the Batman series, admiring his depiction as a man who must pretend to be happy, but eventually fights back against bullies. An Army spokesperson said the message was routine. We want our workforce to be prepared and diligent on personal safety, both inside the workplace and out, the rep said. In another memo Monday, top officials of the Army's Criminal Investigations Division said it received credible intelligence from law enforcement in Texas about disturbing and very specific chatter on the dark web about the targeting of an unknown movie theater during the release. Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix in the title role, premieres October 4th and has already sparked concerns of movie theater violence.
Are you serious? Do they not realize that the Joker is actually more popular with the LGBTQ community than he is with incels?
That's just because they keep trying to make him gay.
Yeah. Dudes, I can't think of any. I know a lot of incels. I talk to them on the internet. I'm an MRA. I talk to a lot of men that fall into the incel category. And I think it's kind of a shit category because it's really not an actual category. It's a bunch of disaffected men that have either not had proper masculine training or they're deluded. They're narcissistic in some fashion that is terminally bad for themselves. It's 2 totally different types of mindsets. And I don't understand how they get lumped in together. And this whole incel thing, there was never an incel component to any of the mass shooters we've seen. What are they talking about? I've never seen, I don't even know how they're making the connection.
Well, there's one. There's one mass shooter.
Roger.
Yeah.
That's the one.
But he wasn't an incel. He was a psychotic elite.
That's true. I mean, it's not like if it just based on what I'm understanding what an incel is there is that he's got that going on him. But I mean, yeah, he was one of those.
Well, he may not be an incel, but he gets that label the same way the NRA gets accused of being, involved in all the mass shootings, even though not a single one's been committed by an NRA member. Yeah, they're responsible for all of it.
Well, yeah, there's always, it's like the gun is responsible for the psycho using the gun, not the psycho using the gun. Okay, but I've never understood that. Why you put in gun control for something that it's never made the connection in my brain. I'm like, why are you blaming the weapon when the weapon wasn't the problem? It was the person wielding it. That makes no sense to me. How can you blame the weapon? That's dumb. And I've always thought that, even when I was like little. So I've always had that major disconnect, and it's confused the fuck out of me, and I've always yelled at TV screens about it. Always, when I was a kid.
But yeah, that's the
Oh,
Joker story.
That doesn't make any sense, though. There's no rational connection. The Joker guy that did the shooting, he wasn't an incel. He wasn't like hating on women or any of those kind of things, because that's usually what they use as the title for an incel, is a guy that can't get laid who hates women for it. But I don't see it as actually that. And I don't see somebody going and shooting up a movie theater over it. That seems like, wouldn't they go to like a salon?
Well, that's, I
Or
think it's mostly like just the narrative that they wanted to push is the fact that, well, the only reason he would do something like this is because he wasn't getting any action. And
well, okay, but that's pretty fucking stupid, because we have people that didn't get any action for their whole lives and they didn't go shoot places up for fucking centuries.
oh, exactly.
We called them priests. I don't understand. What is this fucking... Okay, whatever.
Oh no, I totally get it. It's ridiculous.
But if that one melts your brain, this next one is a complete what the fuck.
Also, is it anything like looking at the Ukraine transcripts hashtag?
Well, no, but it is in the general vicinity. You know, it's close to Ukraine, geographically speaking. Russian woman faces trial for stabbing her sister 189 times and gouging her eyes out.
What did she do?
The sister?
Like, how did you get to the point? Like, what did she do to, like, snap? Like, was she crazy to begin with? What the fuck? 189 times and gouged her eyes out?
Oh, it gets even better from there. A drug-addled Russian woman allegedly stabbed her teen model sister 189 times, gouged her eyes out, and sliced off her ears in a horrific fit of jealousy, according to a report. Elizaveta Dubrovina, 22, was sent for psychiatric treatment after the brutal 2016 crime in St. Petersburg, where her 17-year-old sister, it's Russian for Stephanie, mutilated and naked body was found, according to the Sun. Dubrovina has now been found fit to stand trial and faces 25 years behind bars if convicted. She hated her sister so much that she caused her to endure excruciating pain by hacking her in the head, torso, arms, and legs, according to court documents cited by the news outlet. The woman, who vehemently denies the charges, will reportedly blame Stefina's alleged lover, Alexei Fetiyev, 44. Wow, that's talk about
That's an age difference.
An age gap?
Summer, winter, or was it? How do they describe those kind of?
Whoa, yeah. That's a hell. Oh, wow, I thought my family was pretty. Yeah.
Winter,
I have a son who's almost 30 and a daughter who's 7. It's like, but we have a blended family, so wow.
She is will reportedly blame the alleged lover, in whose apartment the victim died. But prosecutors insist that Fetiyev is a witness and is not considered a suspect. He told authorities he found the body when he returned home after buying wine, and said he detained Elizaveta to stop her escaping before calling the cops. Oh, that's just pictures. That's 1 and 2. The Russian newspaper, I'm not even pronouncing that, cited law enforcement sources, reported at the time of the killing that Stefina's body was almost ruined by cutting performed by the girl's elder sister. She had posed for nude photographs shortly before her grisly death, but her friends have denied that she appeared in porn movies. Oh, see, I don't even have sound pad up. I could have used the Prospero clip there. The sister's mother, Oksana Dubrovina, yada yada, told the paper that Elizaveta had recovered her memory of events and that her daughter claimed that Fetiyev acted like a demon. The mom alleged that Stefina and Fetiyev were lovers and that he was jealous over the nude images. To put it mildly, Stefina was not loyal to him, she added. What a way to call your dead daughter a slut. Wow. Mother of the Year material here, folks.
How does that justify? Okay, no, she's a shit parent. She's a delinquent adult, and that bitch needs to be in jail just as much as the woman does. Okay, there is a whole lot wrong with this situation. If you have sisters that have built that kind of animosity and jealousy between each other, you are parenting totally fucking wrong.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up.
Like legit. That is like you have failed on every level. The only thing your daughter didn't do was go dance on a pole before she stabbed her sister to death. Her child sister, like her minor sister. That should be like a baby in her head still. She shouldn't be doing this shit.
A St. Petersburg showman insisted that rumors that Stefina worked as an escort girl were untrue. Stefina was never involved in it. She was not filmed in porn films either.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
She simply tried to boost her career in modeling, says Stas Barisky, 45. I had known Stefina for about 2 years. She was a modest and attractive girl. She took part in my shows.
God bless you.
The sister's aunt, something or another, Debravina, said Stefina's death was a shocking tragedy. My blood turns to ice, she said. And that is the end of that article. So yeah.
Dude, that is so many delinquent parents and adults in that situation. So many people failed at their jobs way early on. Way early on here. Like,
So, I mean, if you think that you have a bad family dynamic, just keep in mind, nobody stabbed somebody else 190 times yet. So it could be worse.
fuck me. What the hell? And she's out there justifying, oh, well, my daughter was a slut, you know? And it's like, so? Doesn't mean she gets stabbed 190 times. What are you, a fucking religious zealot? You psychotic? What are these, like, Muslims or something? Is that what's not being mentioned?
Well, no, I think what it is she's trying to get her daughter off, and she's saying no. See, he had a reason to stab my daughter 190 times. She cheated on him. You know, the Russians, they got that machismo shit.
Give a fuck. Most men wouldn't do that, especially if she's like a model and stuff. Russians aren't that misanthropic. Their culture isn't built that way. Like it just.
I think it's a 44-year-old dude. So if he's banging it out with a 17-year-old chick, I'm guessing he's probably got more than one.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he'd be that terribly broken up about it.
And it's called a May-December romance.
May-December. There you go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking
I was summer winter. Okay.
about. Close.
But yeah, those are the things that I found so far this morning. I was just kind of like, huh.
Wow. That almost made my head hurt as much as trying to read the Ukraine transcript. Hashtag.
Oh well, did you manage to hear us talking about how to fix inequality?
No.
Oh, that's a good one. Should I go ahead and read it again for Johnny?
Let's give her a couple to review.
Politico has had this deal about how to fix our politics, and they had all these different sections. Misinformation, inequality, campaign finance, all this other kind of stuff. The very first thing in the inequality section, I saw this scrolling through Twitter. Somebody else posted a screenshot of it. Pass an anti-racist constitutional amendment.
What?
Yes. Pass an anti-racist constitutional amendment. This is by a professor of history and the director of anti-racist research and policy center at American University, and the author of, wait for it, How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Okay, has nobody read the preamble to the Constitution? It's literally anti-racist.
What is
Thomas Jefferson wrote it that way because he wanted slavery to leave.
What is this preamble that you speak of?
Exactly, I guess. I don't know. Fuck me, are you serious? All men are created equal. What the fuck? It literally...
Well, it's a pretty short, it's literally like one paragraph long, and to fix the original sin of racism, Americans should pass an anti-racist amendment to the U.S. Constitution that enshrines two guiding anti-racist principles. Racial inequity is evidence of racist policy, and
Inequity and inequality are not the same things. Sorry.
oh no, I've already gave my 2 cents on this, so I'm playing this just for you now.
Oh my God, dude, no. Inequity and inequality are two totally different things. There's a reason we only have equality of opportunity and not equality of outcome. Because equality of outcome is called inequity or is called equity. And equity has a tangible value to it that opportunity doesn't, because opportunity is potential, and that's the only way you can have equality is through potential, because there's no such thing as equality. What the fuck?
Are you telling me that equality is a social construct?
It is a social construct. Because all you can have is legal equality. There's literally no way to create the kind of equality these fuckers are talking about, because equity is not equality.
Well, these are the two guiding anti-racist principles.
This was never anti-racism, guys. I remember when anti-racism started. I'm part of Generation X. I was there. I was punching actual neo-Nazis in the face. No, this is not anti-racism. Oh my God, these people need to be slapped.
And the second principle, the different racial groups are equals.
No, they aren't.
The amendment would make unconstitutional racial inequity over a certain threshold, as well as racist ideas by public officials, and in the parentheses here, with, quote, racist ideas and, quote, public official clearly defined. It would establish and permanently fund the Department of Anti-Racism, DOA in parentheses, comprised of formally trained experts on racism and no political appointees. The DOA would be responsible for pre-clearing all local, state, and federal public policies to ensure they won't yield racial inequity. Monitor those policies.
On arrival.
Monitor those policies, investigate private racist policies when racial inequity surfaces, and monitor public officials for expressions of racist ideas. The DOA would be empowered with disciplinary tools to wield over and against policymakers and public officials who do not voluntarily change their racist policies and ideas.
Oh my God, it is the thought police, called dead on arrival. The thought police are called dead on arrival in this suggestion. Are you serious? Okay, so like, I swear I love my neighbors. They all have to stand right outside my fucking window and do this kind of shit. Oh, sorry guys. So loud. Why?
So I just found this from Patton Oswalt.
Oh God. The bowl of fail himself. Okay.
Well, he goes, I was really counting on Ben Shapiro having the most disturbing Greta Thunberg take, but this unknown scrapper stepped up to the plate. Wow, dude. And in reading it,
I'm thinking of.
Let's see, not even being provocative, but if you think,
Yep, that's the one.
yeah, if you think Greta Thunberg has the maturity to guide global policy, global policy making, then you cannot object to Jeffrey Epstein paying a 16-year-old for sex. And I'm like, yeah.
Say that again. I think I missed part of that.
Let's see.
He said pretty much, if you like the idea of Greta Thunberg making global policy about climate change, or advocating global policy for climate change, as a 16-year-old, you shouldn't have a problem with a billionaire paying 16-year-olds for sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Short of it.
Okay, but if you're a libertarian, you wouldn't. Okay, I have a problem with the 16-year-old, and that's a valid point in a way. The intellect of this is kind of tricky because it's badly worded.
It's extremely badly worded.
It's really shitty worded. What he's saying is that if you're comfortable with Greta Thunberg or Thunberg, the Greta Thunberg. Sorry, I'm gonna make fun of her because everybody's freaking out about the name, and it's like, okay, Thunberg, whatever you want to say.
And now I want to see your face on the Swedish Chef.
So, my ex-husband's family are Swedish immigrants, so We used to make lots of sweet jokes. He really enjoys making really bigoted sweet jokes. He really does. Gigantic man, makes big jokes about himself. It's wonderful. He used to put on the chef's apron and walk around the house and do the Swedish chef. Like while he was making dinner and shit. It was fantastic man. Loving his nieces. Anyway, too bad his son's a piece of shit. But I totally forgot what I was saying because I'm fucking retarded today. No. Okay, so if Greta is going to go out there and politically pimp herself to do this because that's what she's doing, then people shouldn't have a problem with a private billionaire physically pimping out a 16-year-old. If you're comfortable with one, you should be comfortable with the other because the ethics involved are literally the same. You're taking advantage of a person that doesn't have the ability to fully comprehend what they're pushing. She does not have the wisdom to do this yet. She is 16. There's no way a kid, even if they were like, King Tut or, the Dalai Lama or something, been raised since birth to know how to rule, you would not have the understanding to create global policy at age 16. You just wouldn't have the wisdom. That's absolutely correct in the premise itself. However, it's Patton Oswalt, so he makes it sound like a retard. Because it's Patton Oswalt, and he's the man that came up with Bowl of Fail.
Well, did she even come up with policy? I just remember hearing her say, it's like, hey, if you guys don't do something, I'm not going back to school.
No, she's screaming and yelling statistics that nobody can support and telling you how you need to do something, but nobody knows what. You're supposed to just adhere to whatever the Green New Deal thing is that everybody's pushing, which is just communism. That's all. But she doesn't realize that because she's 16 and she's freaking vulnerable. Psychologically, she's more vulnerable than a regular 16-year-old. But she doesn't understand what she's pushing. She doesn't even see the communism. She just sees, oh, everybody's gonna kill me. I'm fucking scared because I'm autistic and I don't have the ability to differentiate freaking metaphors and imagery from hyperbole. Because I'm only 16 and my little brain and with this autism hasn't been able to learn how to filter all that and function it together yet. And it's more vulnerable of making the hyperbolic emotional response than the average hormonal 16-year-old brain. Trust me, I know, I've been there. I have a 21-year-old autistic daughter. I went through this. Like, personally, I'm watching Greta do things that my daughter does, and I'm like, why the fuck are you letting her do this on stage? She's going to have a meltdown backstage. And she most likely does. She most likely goes and has a meltdown somewhere. Because they let her get that emotionally wound up as an aspie. It pisses me off on so many levels because I know what that kid's going through emotionally and psychologically. It angers me deeply, deeply. Sorry, this is my own personal thing.
That's what I was aiming for. Like,
oh, that's right. I told you this before. I have a daughter. She's an adult. And she has Asperger's. And even she's looking at this and she's livid because that little girl should not be up there. My 21-year-old autistic daughter is looking at it and going, why is this 16-year-old autistic girl sitting up here doing this? She's an aspie. She's so malleable. She's as big a sucker as I am. What am I doing? What is she doing? Where's her mom?
Well, that, like, my youngest, he's autistic. There ain't no way in hell I'm poster boarding him for anything. Like, he's not going to be a poster boy for shit. Unless
the instant my daughter's school, this is part of the reason I pulled her out of public school, is because as soon as they found out she was diagnosed with Asperger's, they trotted her out for special conferences at the classrooms, and they were handing out books, and they started making her a poster child. And I said, oh no, you're not doing this. You're not allowed to do this. She is not a tool for you guys' virtue signaling. I was livid, and it's part of the reason I pulled her out of public school. I couldn't handle it. You don't get to, no, you're not going to let my child lean on her disability as a special tool. No, it's something she needs to learn how to live with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, angers me. Oh. Yeah, no, poster child, things like this, no. And she really is mentally ill, guys. She has, like, depression and, all these other, like, OCDs and things that are serious detriments. It is literal mental illness, and people are acting like it doesn't exist. They're trying to say that's not true, and it's like, she's almost a fucking case study in and of herself. She's had a book written about her. How can you deny the reality of how broad the evidence is that this girl, should not be in the position she's in. She should not until she is much older and has a much firmer grasp on how to cope with the things she deals with on the daily emotionally.
Oh yeah, and well, especially when you got Antifa parents raising you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're all wearing Antifa shirts. Oh, we didn't know it was Antifa. Bullshit, you didn't? Antifa's been there longer than it's been here, and it's been here since the 1930s. You can't tell me they didn't know that symbol. That star in the circle symbol has been the Antifa symbol in Europe since the early 1900s. Absolutely, I love that hashtag.
There we go.
I love that hashtag. It's brilliant. Oh my God, Shialgarath, you have no idea. He makes so many bad IKEA jokes and stuff. I haven't talked to him in like a decade, but oh my God, the guy was hilarious. He made so many Swedish, like, he would talk about big dumb Swedes all the time. It was like his favorite thing to do was joke about being a big dumb Swede. And he owned a Saab dealership. Okay, the man was just amazing, so. I could go on a shtick about that guy, and it would be awful. But I'm not going to, like, partially dox myself to make some jokes. Why are my neighbors shouting and laughing so loud outside my...
Someone's having a party?
No. 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. I think it's my very elderly neighbor, and they're all very deaf. So that could be what I'm hearing.
That's hilarious.
So there's a bunch of really old people laughing and talking outside. Which is always funny.
I was scrolling through Twitter, and Darwin Awards posted a video. Foolish girl burns her tongue with a curling iron on Instagram.
Hey!
On purpose?
Yeah. She straight up sticks her tongue out and closes the curling iron on it. And then she freaks out. Because, surprise, surprise.
It hurt!
Hot.
Fire hot.
See, this is why if I ever have kids, I'm giving them pennies to play with in light sockets and all kinds of shit, you know. You're gonna learn. Life's hard. Don't do stupid shit.
Oh, it's not that hard. You don't have to make it dangerous for them to figure that out. Like, you could try to make it dangerous. You don't even have... They'll make it dangerous on their own. They will. They will make it dangerous on their own. They will. You can try to mitigate the danger, and they will create it themselves. You don't even have to start it. You can. No, children are. I don't even know the right word right now because I'm going through some IRL shit with my kids. And let's just say I've got a kid with crutches in my house right now. So.
Okay, let me put it this way then. Okay, I wouldn't give them pennies to play with to put in the light socket, but I would go ahead and when I see them doing dumb shit, I'm not going to stop them. I'm just going to record it for later.
We've done some of that.
Be like, hey, you remember when you did this dumb shit? Didn't work out that well, did it?
Yeah, we've done some of that. However, the 2 weeks at a burn center with my middle child, I've kind of started mitigating some of the really dumb shit they set up.
I think the last time I played for it with anything that remotely dangerous is I ended up sticking. Let's see. I got my feet stuck in slippers to the side of a hot fireplace. And,
oh my God! Were you like a kid?
Yeah.
Oh God, that was scary.
So like I just had my feet resting against the thing, and I didn't even realize I was like it was the fireplace. And I looked down and I went to pull my feet up, and they weren't coming off of the fireplace. And my dad just immediately, I was like, oh, well, that's, and my dad immediately runs over and like grabs me, throws my feet out, and then I just do this backflip off the couch. And then he takes this pry bar that he just happened to have there and just like chiseled them off. So the side of the fireplace had like 2 permanent ingrained footprints. They were just there. You couldn't get rid of them unless you wanted to replace the entire fireplace.
Yeah. I just. I don't know. I've had a rough. This has been a fucked up summer, but holy crap. Yeah, no, kids. So you don't have to worry about it, Camel. Like, you don't. Kids will make it dangerous on their own. Like, the normal stuff that we go, oh, hey, that's not supposed to be like, that's sharp, it'll hurt me. For some reason, most children, until they're, I guess, about 13, that kind of consequence action thought process, it doesn't fully kick in. So they're always doing incredibly dangerous, dumb shit. You don't have to set it up for it to be dangerous. They'll figure out what to do and what not to do, even if you try to just tell them. It's really, kids are amazing at surviving incredibly stupid shit. Seriously amazing.
It's almost like there's an aura of luck around most kids.
Especially small children.
And it seems like the dumber the action, like the greater the protection around that kid.
Right? Right? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Because I've seen my kids have done some incredibly stupid shit, and I'm like, how did you survive that unscathed? Because anybody else would have been completely smashed and like dead, you know?
Yeah, my hometown. I just happened to run out on the highway between two semis. Like the road was just wide enough to where either both of them could have like they both got around me okay, but it was like it could have been way bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my immediate thought was, oh, I'm gonna go over there. I didn't even look either way.
Yeah, and that's kids. Kids, they don't. It's like that whole logical consequence. No, no. It takes them a while to kick that in, so they're just incredibly like I don't even know, but they'll set themselves up for danger all the time. Oh, those came later. Excuse me for a second.
All right, so I will go to chat. How's chat doing? Like,
Sorry, we are scheduling fiber. It's supposed to be the guy's supposed to be here in like 20 minutes, so I only have about 10 to 15 before I have to hop off, and I'm not gonna have internet for you.
okay. Well, I think we should close up pretty soon anyway. I got a few more errands to run now that it's later in the day. Unless you got something.
I just tried to put my dogs out, and they decided, no, we don't want to go outside. We want to go to bed.
Yeah, that's dogs do that.
But we want to go to bed next to your microphone.
No, they actually went to the bedroom and they jumped up on the bed. They're like, yeah, no, this is good. Just leave us here.
The cat. That's the cat that wants to rub up on the microphone as they go to bed. And they want to sleep like on the microphone. It's the cat that does that. The dog just wants to bark and lick you and lick the microphone because it smells like you. So it's slobber or cat hair. That's your choice.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Who's hot? What's going on?
I know. I was trying to figure out is she hot? I'm like, who?
I think she was asking about your ex-husband.
I don't know. He's kind of. That's the bad question. And if you're asking me about my daughter, don't you dare ask me if my daughter's hot. That's gross. Don't you? That's gross.
Wait, have you met Shio yet?
Yeah, bad Shio.
My daughter. She is a perfect, beautiful angel. Don't you dare ask me if she's hot.
Oh no, no. I wasn't stuttering because of that. Just so you guys know. No, I found a gift that would be perfect for Ranting Monkey, and it is actually a monkey with a rolled up newspaper, actually hitting stuff.
You've got to send that to him.
I got it. I found it because it popped up on my Facebook as I was just scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, I've got to save that one somehow. Like, and I was never able to find it.
Huh.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking for it again. So.
And there's our resident Australian. How's it going, Terry? You're up pretty early today, man.
Yeah, it's about what?
Oh, no, actually, it's not that terribly early. Was it like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning over there? But
I'm looking for your gift now, man.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And it's not here. That's odd.
no, that's. I don't really have anything else for today. But some of these, scrolling through Twitter. Oh, SC Cup. You guys know who SC Cup is?
I've heard the name.
I first found out about her from Real Time with Bill Maher. She would be on the panel from time to time. She was on CNN. I think she moved over to HLN. But,
Yeah, she started out on Fox under Glenn Beck, and then she went to CNN or something like that. She went to a fairly left MSN or something like that, and I think now she's on HLN because she's just so wishy-washy.
yeah, Terry's making the same complaint. He says that Tim and I are both quiet to him.
Well, I'm like really close to my microphone.
I was gonna say, Terry, if I get any closer to this mic, it's gonna be inside me. So I don't know how it's gonna work.
I'm out of boomstick. I don't have any more arm left to stretch out.
She says it's hard to play the "if Obama had done it" game because if he'd have been impeached by now.
Oop.
Because he would have been impeached by now.
I found it.
Oh, you found the gift?
Yep.
Woo! Sorry. Well,
It's not a newspaper. It's just a stick.
oh my god, I forgot about that one. Okay, monkey attack gifts. Okay, that's awesome.
Now just that, yeah, get the Photoshop of a newspaper in there. And there you go.
And just put bad idea on the top of the guy's head.
Yeah.
Bad idea, bad idea, bad idea.
Hey, there's Della. Hey, man, how's it going? But yeah, I
Oh,
love this take from...
Wrong button. My bad.
Did I miss porn because I was looking at Twitter?
Yes.
No, I accidentally booted Atema from the screen. So, yes.
I do love this take, though.
And which is funny because Prospero was saying how easy that is to do. And I'm like, I'll never do it. First thing, bam, there it is.
I haven't started a stream yet. In fact, I just set up the account today because I've been busy and lazy. So, my bad. There's got to be some sort of internal setting for volumes that we have to find. I bet if you disable audio processing, that might...
do not use this setting unless you are wearing headphones and have a high-quality microphone. The settings enables audio processing features like echo cancellation, noise suppression, and auto gain control.
So I'm wondering if that isn't set on Johnny's stuff as on, because that might do that weird regulation if neither of us are on. Because I'm on a pretty high-end microphone, but it's not like super expensive one. It's just like advanced.
For the OBS.
Yeah, my microphone picks up my cat down the hall with the door closed. So
We have mine's parabolic, so it only has a certain range, but everything in that range gets picked up, which is why it keeps flashing when my neighbors are out there talking.
well, I tried that disable thing. So how do I sound now, guys? Any better? Any worse?
Sound the same to me.
Yeah, it sounds the same to me no matter what.
I'm talking to the chat people. Oh, Della's at work, so it's not going. No, it's going. It's just not going well.
I would think that it's going great if you're at work, because therefore you're stating that you have value to your activity and action.
But yeah, I do enjoy this take from SC Cup because I don't really take her seriously. But I just love that, if Obama had done it, he'd have already been impeached. It's like I recall the whole hot mic with the Russian Dmitry Mendeleev. I think that's what the guy's name was.
Was it with Mendeleev or was it with Putin himself?
No, it was with Mendeleev because he was saying that he would transmit that to President Putin. But he said, yeah, once I get reelected, I'll have more flexibility.
Does everybody forget that Obama ran an anti-Netanyahu campaign and funded one in Israel during the Netanyahu elections while Obama was in office?
Apparently so, because I didn't even know about that.
Oh yeah, that was federally funded.
Nice.
That was there was federal funds, that was in one of those pork bills, was to fund this campaign and this, or fund some Israeli PAC that was anti-Netanyahu. It was done. Obama did it. What? How is it? And okay, here's the thing that gets me about the whole transcripts thing. If you read the transcripts, President, was it Zelensky? Yes. President Vladimir Zelensky, President Zelensky said they were already looking into the issue that Biden had openly declared at a speech. They were already looking into it, and they had already reached out to Giuliani themselves. Okay? Trump had nothing to do with it. They were talking about something that the Ukrainian officials had already started the process of. And Trump said, oh yes, please do continue with this because it is a concern to us on this level and for this reason. But nobody's read it. I'm trying to figure out why people are not literally looking at the transcripts.
Oh, they're looking at it, but they're also finding, ways to dismiss it. I can't tell you how. I saw one guy. He's saying, it was a 30-minute phone call. Does this look like 30 minutes worth of conversation? They let something out. It's not a transcript. It's a memorandum of a telephone conversation. It's not verbatim. So stop calling it a transcript because it's not. People just.
Except for if it's a piece of paper that has what they have written, has written on it what they have been saying. That's a transcript.
Even though it's literally a transcript. It's not a memo. There's no memorandum in it. It's a transcript. There was a memorandum sent out that clearly and obviously stated what was in the transcript, and everybody, these are talking points the White House accidentally emailed. No, they intentionally emailed you the third grade, I'm going to beat my children, the third grade cliff notes of the transcript because they full well knew you were too stupid and apoplectic to read it and understand the plain English of the man whose English is not his second language. There's no way to make this fucked up subterfuge that they're trying to say. It's a man who speaks English natively talking to a man who speaks Ukrainian natively. Of course, a conversation of 5 pages is going to take about 30 minutes because there's going to be pauses from the Ukrainian president to make sure he has the correct words. The languages aren't even set up in a similar fashion, so it's easy to translate them. He has to translate verbs and tenses and these and does and us and put them in whole new places.
And then hope that he doesn't get, nothing has a slang inflection to it.
It doesn't have the wrong inflection, or he's found the wrong words. And he's the president of Ukraine talking to Donald motherfucking Trump. So he's already kind of nervous, right? He kind of stinks in the beginning that he's nervous and excited to talk to the guy. The President Zelensky's already fanboying, so why would you say, oh, he's coercing him? He didn't have to coerce anything. President Zelensky looked at Trump's model for making America great again, and he said, I'm going to make Ukraine great again. And that's what he went and fucking did. He used the same model. He said so in the transcript. So I'm trying to figure out how these people are going, oh, he coerced him and did it. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't. Zelensky already took the inspiration and motivation from what Trump did 2 years or 4 years prior and applied it to what he's doing right now. He said so in the conversation. I don't understand how these people are getting there. I can't figure it out because the whole conversation shows that the Ukrainian president was interested in what Biden was saying before Trump was interested in what Biden was saying. Biden said it on fucking tape. I don't understand why. It's recorded. It's on the internet. Everybody is seeing it. How that? Oh, this never happened this way. Biden literally said this shit happened. Does he think the new Ukrainian anti-corruption president isn't going to go, what? What? So yeah, I don't know.
No, and I think it has to do with it's the president in power did something because if it were like I'll say shoes on the other foot, say like Clinton got elected and the whole like everything that's happened from here now has happened with an exception of it's Clinton instead of Trump. It would be Fox News raising these exact same points that CNN would be raising, that CNN's raising against Trump now. It's just to say it's the same. It's like mirror dimension type shit.
Oh, absolutely. The rhetoric is just merely it's whatever side of the aisle is feeling bullied at the moment is going to use the same type of psychotic rhetoric. They just are, and I know it's dumb, and everybody knows it's dumb.
And yet there's some sort of like amnesia that happens every time.
Right?
Just like with this, just like with the centrist friend, how he's trying to bring up this whole Crimea thing or the Trump traitor thing, and then when Camel brings up Obama's drone projects.
Yeah, he's like, I think this is pretty funny. I typed into Google, it's like how many, and it auto-filled. How many votes are needed to impeach Trump? Because that's the hot topic of the day.
But there's no data shaping going on, boys and girls. No data shaping at all.
I could have been asking, like, how many cups of sugar do I need to, bake something or whatever. But yeah, let's just hop straight to Trump.
Or how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Well, we know the answer to that. It's 3. Professor Al told us that years ago. But they need 218 votes in the House to impeach and send it to the Senate.
There's no way they're going to get it. Well, even if they do send it to the Senate, it's DOA.
From what I see right now, they have 158 House Democrats backing the impeachment inquiry.
The closer it gets to the actual election season, the less they're going to have on that list. It's not going to increase.
But I love that they're actually keeping like a running tally on CNN about that, because the big part that they keep forgetting is you need 2/3 of the Senate to actually kick him out of office. So this is just some kabuki theater shit going on right now because they've got no other play.
And I could see them totally bringing up, say they got the whole hearing going, and when it came down to the final vote, I can totally see it being like, this is what we got. I feel we've proved that he's, he can be impeached, and then they're just gonna not vote for impeachment. At least until they want to try it again the next time.
No, I think
let's say they do. Okay, they get 218 votes in the House. They get the 67 votes in the Senate. They go ahead and they get rid of Trump. You know what that leaves them with? President Pence. They're not thinking this through. The best way for them to get rid of Trump is to win the election. The best way for them to do that is by actually,
having a platform?
Having a platform of issues that the American people care about. Stop talking about grabbing all the guns. Stop talking about, free college and health care for everybody. Stop talking about open borders. That's not what the American people fucking want. That sounds good in Berkeley and Los Angeles and New York City. Okay, that sounds great. But everywhere else, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a Tim Pool video the other day. He was talking about how union Democrats, union members who are registered Democrats are saying, yeah, we'll keep vote for Democrats in the local elections, but we're going to vote for Trump for president because he's actually talking about jobs and the economy. It goes back to that whole 1992 campaign strategy of the Clintons. It's the economy, stupid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is what gets you votes. That is what the people actually care about. It's do I have a job? Are there jobs available to me if I don't have one?
Can I afford a house?
Can I make my mortgage payment? Am I going to have enough money for gas to put in my vehicle to get to the job so that way I don't lose the job and therefore my house and so on and so forth? They're not talking about that shit.
Well, they are talking about the cost of living that's drastically increased. They aren't talking about that. That's for sure. In fact, nobody's talking about that. We have an inflation issue in our economy that we're ignoring, and we have outrageous cost of living values across the board in our country. There are very few places where it's what?
No.
He's laughing at something else, not you.
No. I was in the chat and I told him that we were getting ready for snow to come, and Terry's like, "Well, you can have this snow," and sends a YouTube link, and I'm like, "I am guessing that this is Informer."
Oh.
And it was.
I was just going to assume that Terry was trying to push some more of that Diamantis brand family cocaine.
There's the Aussie breed or Aussie strain now. I get it.
But yeah, they keep talking down to the people that they need to vote for them to beat Trump, and then they wonder why Trump wins. It's like, can you not see the cause and effect here? Because it's plainly obvious. Like they talk about wage stagnation. Wages haven't risen in 40 years.
They haven't.
Yeah, they haven't. That's true. But here's another thing. Illegal immigration's been a problem for 40 plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
When you have people coming into the country taking all the low-skilled jobs, it makes it harder for people to make money.
Well, it makes it harder for low-skilled Americans to make money. The vast majority of humans on the planet are low-skilled.
Exactly. That's why a college degree used to mean something. It meant that you had more education, you had more job prospects.
Yes.
And now that everyone's going to college, it doesn't mean shit. It's just it's 4 years of high school that you pay for with a loan instead of taxes.
Well, the education isn't very good that you're getting these days. I mean, it's been a long time since I was in college, and I remember the professors wanted to question what you already knew. There was a push to learn. Even if they didn't agree with you, they wanted you to learn something. And now there's none of that. I'm not seeing that with, outside of very few fields, the education is no longer an education. And even those fields are having to try to compensate for the fact that these kids don't know a lot of basic common sense, like logic stuff. Basic logic stuff. We're talking like Socratic logic. Like A is A kind of crap. Real simple stuff. They are not comprehending. And they're having to retrain these kids to think before they can put them in medical programs, before they can put them in an astrophysics program. They're actually having to retrain these people how to think before they can put them in the programs after they come out of the public education system in America. We have a problem. It's a big problem, though.
Well, I went to college.
Shoot. I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
it's probably a good time to wrap it up. They're having trouble hearing us in chat anyway, so.
Actually, I think it might have been on my fault. My fart. Ah, my God, I can't talk.
Your part?
My fart.
Your fart.
Yeah, I guess I had my desktop audio turned down,
Oops.
which I didn't know was a
Yep,
thing.
Terry's saying it's better now.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta go, guys. The fiber guy's here, so
Yeah. All
I'll
right.
catch you
Well,
guys later. Thanks for having me on. It was wonderful to see you, Johnny.
yes, it was good to see you again.
It was
Good to
good
see you
streaming
again.
with you.
Yeah. We usually only bitch at each other in chats, so hey.
Yeah, exactly.
See you later, guys.
Let's see you.
Later.
And yeah, I think that's as good as time as any to.
Yeah, how long have we been going now? What?
Almost 2 hours.
Uh, I got 95 minutes on the YouTube saying here, so an hour and a half. That's not bad.
Oh yeah, we did start late, didn't we?
Yeah. But no, dude. This is It's always fun hanging out and talking, but some of this shit that we read today is just what?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go rinse my brain out, and I think I might see if Monkey's still streaming. He's going in on the Trump stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, just when we started having a good day, and then we had to go on the internet.
yeah. Well, that's usually how it goes. I might go respond to the centrist now. Now that I've given some time to hang out and relax and see what kind of fuckery he's up to.
And now it's time to stress ourselves out again. Yeah, hour 36
Oh no,
minutes.
that's fun for me. That's no stress.
It's an hour 36 minutes, so yeah. We're good to go.
Exactly, Terry. We wanted to make sure you guys didn't miss that part. And fix the audio so everyone can hear you say goodbye. But
It's called professionalism.
yeah, it's not like we get paid for this shit or anything. So I mean, what do you expect?
All right. I guess, yeah, we will call it. You guys have yourself a good day, and we will talk to you next time.
Later, everybody.
Hopefully you guys can hear us next time. Well, and this time too, I guess.